Thank you for joining me again today on Take 10. We're talking about the values of having a relationship in the ICCI. Not just a ministry, a place that you go and go to a service or go to a seminar or go to a training, but something that is all inclusive to help you be strong. And I'm talking to Dave Dolan of New Life and ICCI in the Midwest, in Illinois particularly, where they have a network that has a group of ministers that come together every month, and they learn and fellowship and work together, and they help each other. So what do you say to a minister when you're telling them why they should be a part of Ministry Launch and the ICCI?
When we connect with them, the resources that are so available in terms of historical experience, storms that we've walked through that could have ravaged us. And the Lord spoke to me one day about helping other ministries and pastors avoid the potential snares that seem to have a common equivalent quotient that hell tries to bring against us, and help them avoid that. For example, our church is a church plant, essentially. And so we have a gentleman in our network that has the process of planting a church. So we work with him and help him to potentially avoid any pitfalls and snares. So those kind of resources become a very, very attractive element in being a part of a group of ministers that add to your value, not try to create an elevated place for you to look at them.
It's not just a spiritual aspect. You help them legally, technically help them with their city councils. Right. You help them on all those things that can just, as you're going forward in a nonprofit or you're going forward in your 501c3 privilege, being a ministry, a church, an organization, or a charity, they just throw things at you. So everything's not about how many scriptures you know in the Bible and how many great times that you had to walk on water to find the power of life. And I can tell you this, I know some of the men that come monthly to year. Right. They live on that relationship. So when they come to you, what are some of the types of problems that they bring to you that you're seeming to help them through this relationship?
One of the things that a lot of them struggle with is packaging their service and putting it together so that it leaves an impact on the people that come, so that when their people leave, they go, I want to come back. I want more of that. We've dealt with staff situations. Who do I hire? How do I qualify people for a particular position? Not just because they have a passion and want to do it. We've helped them understand the cycles that a church may go through, how to avoid the pitfalls that are common to all of us, so that we don't end up in a place where we're just struggling and paddling and nothing's working. What are the ingredients? How do we measure our success? How do we know? Because we had somebody come to us and ask us some hard questions, and we discovered we were lying to ourselves.
Wow.
So we had to go back and reevaluate and create biblical structures, evaluations that would help us move forward. So now we have the baseline statistics that will show them, and they go, we want to be a part of that.
Yeah, so that's the church side. Now you have others in your organization that come every week, and they have or every month to the meeting, and their interests are operating their nonprofit.
Right.
So I know recently there was a lady who started who had this desire to help birth mothers. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? And that's on the complete opposite of having church every day. Now this is how am I going to take advantage of the 501c3 privilege to do what I want? I feel like I need to do for birth mothers.
She was a birth mother herself, and we walked her through that process. She called me one day and said, is there any biblical example of a birth mother in the Bible? I said, read 1 Samuel about Hannah. She called her ministry Hannah's Song. And so she was...
Hannah's Song.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great thing.
She has such a burden for those moms because she knows what she has walked through, and our ability to diffuse in her the strength and the qualifications that you didn't have to go to Bible school for 4 years, and you don't have to know perhaps all of these scriptures, but you've locked in on something specific. And when she discovered that she could do what she would desire to do and what God's placed in her heart and have a nonprofit status. In fact, the nonprofit status was given to her by a doctor in a local hospital that's willing to help her. And that doctor could not believe that we had the capacity or the willingness to help her in that measure. She has already connected with ladies in Tennessee, Indiana, Chicago, Texas.
Oh,
It has
what a
been
great
phenomenal.
what a great need. I mean,
Yeah.
when you told me about it, I just thought of how many birth mothers in our ministry I've known through the years that have given their babies up for adoption, and years later had that pain that they just couldn't get over. And this answers that. And this, but it's something she needed legality for, to be able to accept donations, to be able to pay her expenses, and to give gifts to these mothers. I think that we misinterpret a lot of time the calling of God. Most people think they're called of God to go on a missions trip and become a missionary, or go and preach in a pulpit, when really it's just hands in the field to help somebody find a need, fill it, make things happen, and then your heart begins to be strong. But then the legality shows up. How are you going to accept a check written out to you that somebody wants a tax credit for? And how are you going to operate in favor with the hospital systems? You know, you're going to need an ordination. You're going to need those things at work. Well, she's on her way, right?
Yeah. This girl doesn't have the capacity, as many of us, to approach a lawyer and then be overwhelmed by the enormous cost, the length of time that it would take to facilitate all of that. She is so thrilled to be able to do what God has called her to do, and these birth mothers are being saved, and the kingdom is expanding, and that causes everybody to rejoice.
Hey, look, as I close out this day of Take 10, go to ministrylaunch.com. Go to maybe ministrylaunch.org as well, maybe ministrylaunchnow. Just get in there and you'll find we are everywhere in there, and we make contact with the office, and you'll find willing and helpful people that are ready to bring you right through. And it doesn't take near as long or near as much as you thought to become active in doing your dream. Pastors, evangelists, missionaries, we can help you as well immediately. Don't stay boggled down in being alone. Make that call, reach out, go to the web, take care of yourself, and God will send a wind in underneath that idea that was His, that He put in your heart, and you'll have a great movement of God in your life like you've never seen before. I'll see you next time. By the way, keep taking 10.